Is the ancient Christian commentary on Scripture worth its hefty price tag, or is it just some overpriced quote mine of things already in the public domain? What does it do well? What does it do not so well? Is it useful for anything even? And most importantly, should you buy it? All this coming up in this video. Hey guys, Jaden here, and I'm just an ordinary Christian trying to grow in truth one book at a time. This channel is a place where we walk through rich theology, classic works, and the Christian tradition together, not as experts, but as fellow learners. If this sounds like something you're interested in, please like the video, subscribe, and let's learn together. So this commentary set was originally published in 1999, and it has a set with many of the editors, and the main one being Thomas C. Oden. If it quotes the church fathers from the end of the New Testament period up until AD 750. And rather just a normal commentary, this set basically harvests quotes from the various church fathers, and it works in a verse-by-verse commentary style. And this brings a unique style to the commentary, and I almost even hesitate to call it a commentary, things that a few other books have done before it. The hardcover edition that I have, which is it's right here. It's a lot harder to find now compared to the soft cover, and the soft cover is around $500 on christianbook.com. You can also purchase it on Logos for about the same price, and I think you can actually get it, purchase an entire library along with it through one of their package deals. The recommended price though for this is about $1,000 for the set, and for me it's a 27 volume set. I think now it's like up to 30 with the soft cover. I'm not 100% how that works. But it appears to be priced accordingly for how many volumes that it has. So without the dust cover, it looks pretty cool for those of you that hate dust covers. It's a nice black. So the goal of the Ancient Christian Commentary set, which you can read on the first pages of any of the volumes, it says, the Ancient Christian Commentary on Scripture has as its goal the revitalization of Christian teaching based on classical Christian exegesis. The intensified study of Scripture by lay persons who wish to think with the early church about the canonical text, and the stimulation of Christian historical, biblical, theological, and pastoral scholar toward further inquiry into scriptural interpretation by ancient Christian writers. So you see, this commentary is primarily made for the public, especially the lay public like me, along with any pastor or scholar. It is specifically designed to simply get us to read the church fathers again. In my previous video of reading scripture of the church fathers, which I recommend you to go watch, it serves as a good introduction to this review. We discussed how the Enlightenment has influenced the modern Christian thought to be quite independent of church history in our theological and biblical studies. This is because of the rise of skepticism attributed to philosophers like David Hume and classical liberal theologians like Friedrich Schleiermacher. While Christians push back against this philosophy, it still influenced the way we understand theology and hermeneutics as conservative evangelical Christians. Again, we discussed this in the last video. I encourage you to go watch it. But anyways, this commentary largely serves as a gateway drug, so to speak, into the minds of the fathers for those who have yet to experience their thought. While it can be used by anyone, it's designed for laymen, people like me who desire to rediscover the fathers' thoughts in a way that's going to resonate, especially with them and with pastors specifically. This is because it's formatted in a way that it comments on something that we all should already be quite familiar with, that being Scripture. So this commentary is formatted with a general introduction, a guide to the entire set, and an introduction to the individual commentary. Here is where it explains the philosophy behind the commentary and the general thoughts of the fathers on the books or books covered. It then gets into the commentary itself. Each section begins with the scriptures quoted in the Revised Standard Version, followed by a quick overview of the thoughts of the fathers on that particular set of verses. From there, it takes the individual verses on specific parts of those passages and gives different quotes that were mined from the church fathers' writings. The writings themselves are from various translations and sets. Interestingly, when the language from the older translations or older works are archaic, it's updated to be more accessible to the modern reader. And some works, interesting enough, are actually translated for the first time into English, meaning that you cannot find it in English anywhere else. Each quotation has a footnote of who wrote it and what work it's citing from, and then it also shows you where you can find that work to read further up on that. For example, looking at Ephesians 2, 8 through 9, it's the famous passage where the doctrines of like sola fide and sola gratia are found. This is page 131 of the Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians commentary. It has the entire scripture and an overview of the Father's opinions on it. Then from there, we can get to the individual opinions on specific things from the passages. There are footnotes which state where the passages are cited for further study. What does this commentary do well? Well, first, it introduces laymen and pastors to the fathers for the first time. It accomplishes the goal that it sets out to do, and it does it very well. For those of us like me who've never read them before, it allows us to read them in a way that won't be overtly challenging or shocking to our system. It does this by facilitating the reading to be inside the context of Scripture, and it assumes that you already know the Scriptures well, and it allows us to glean the most from the Fathers. Secondly, it broadens our modern understandings of the Scriptures. Whether right or wrong, the commentaries will certainly help us see other points of views on the passages, and then from there we can determine what it is we disagree or agree with on the said opinions. And thirdly, it encourages further study and interaction with the primary sources. While somebody can complain that these individual quotes can be kind of unhelpful, it just seems randomness sometimes, they always cite the source that they obtain the quotes from, and this is encouraging you to investigate, to go find the source, to interact with that father directly. This facilitates further learning and growth from reading the fathers. And this is probably what the commentary does best. What does this commentary do bad? Well, first, individual quotes are sometimes just unhelpful. I understand we cannot control what it is that the fathers commented on, but this means that sometimes you might have specific questions on the passage or what a father thought on this, and sometimes you're just left without an answer. This just comes with the territory with a very specific and quote mine work like this. Second, the sources aren't always accessible for further study. To further this problem with quote mine sources, as mentioned earlier, some of these works are translated in English for the first time. So when someone reads a quote from one of these newly translated texts, they have no way to read the entire quote in context, because to do that, they would have to be able to read the original Greek or Latin. And as stated earlier, this text isn't really made for the person who doesn't read Greek or Latin. When someone's looking to see that they fully understand the context of the quote so that they don't understand it wrongly or they don't cite it wrongly, they can kind of be left empty. This does not facilitate further study, which is the goal, again, of this work. Third, this is just a me problem. This set absolutely must have an index. There is a little index at the back of every commentary, but I want an index for all of the work so that I can mosey through the entire set all at once with an index. My edition doesn't have one, but in reading the side label on it, it appears it never had one. However, I did Google the paperback edition of an index, and it does appear that exists now with the softcover edition. I don't know if that would work with my hardcover set. This is probably just a me problem, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So who is this commentary useful for? First, laymen and pastors desiring to be introduced to the fathers for the first time and already having a solid base of scripture and knowledge, and already having a good trusted commentary on the shelf already. Hopefully, you're going to be coming into this commentary. You need to already be well acquainted with whatever passage you're reading and its various interpretations. From there, the person can begin to study what the fathers had to say about the passage and then contrast that with the interpretations that we already had. Secondly, college students. Personally, myself, taking classes, I have found them particularly useful in writing my own school papers. When I have a theological topic to write on, I find the verses that apply to that topic. I then go to the commentary and find quotes from the fathers that apply directly to my theological topic. What I then do is, when applicable, I go to the original source and then read the entire work. This can help with writing papers and getting a historical background or authority into whatever it is that I'm arguing for. So for students, this set is absolutely phenomenal. So who is this set not useful for? People wanting a one-stop commentary or their first commentary set, this isn't it. Don't buy this. I hesitate to even call this set a commentary because honestly, it works more as a glorified index to the Father's works and formatted to fit around the verses of Scripture. It truly is a unique piece and has a place for those who desire such a thing, But if you're dead set on historical commentary and you actually want it to be an actual commentary, I'd recommend scalping Facebook, and you're going to probably be able to find, for the same amount of money, a copy of Calvin's commentary secondhand. And that would be much more useful commentary. That'd be an actual commentary on Scripture rather than something like this. So should you buy this commentary? It depends. If you fit into one of those people groups that I mentioned and you have a desire for it, yeah, go for it. It can be incredibly useful, and I personally have found some wonderful uses for it. The problem is this commentary has gotten a lot of hate, and it's because people misunderstand the point of it and try to use it in a way it was never intended to be. This is not your one-stop commentary, and it never tries to be. So stop trying to judge it based on that. It's more like an index of the thoughts of the fathers, organized in a way so that it can be read to interact with the Scriptures themselves. It's made to introduce you to the thoughts of the fathers in a means of something that you're already familiar with, to facilitate further study. So this is in essence what you're paying for. It's a glorified index of the thoughts of the fathers. And don't let that scare you. It has many uses. If that sounds interesting or beneficial to you, yeah, I absolutely encourage you to pick it up. However, the price tag, it can be steep. And if you're thinking that you are looking into a more normal commentary, steer away. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Again, I encourage you to like and subscribe for more content, and I'm going to see you all in the next video.